Hey, Dirt Farmer Jay here from dirtfarmerj.com. Don't you love great onions? Well, many people do, but they always go to the store to buy them. Why? Hey, stick with me and I'll show you how you can grow these great onions in your own food plot. Hey, Dirt Farmer Jay here from dirtfarmerj.com. This is going to be a fast romp through the world of onions and how they think. But to make sure we don't turn this into a really long episode, I've given you a lot of resources down below in the description that'll give you links to different areas, different videos you can go look from some of my friends that have done work on this. But we're going to hit just the basics of onions, and if you can think like an onion thinks, you can really jump up your game and produce some great onions just like these in your very own garden. So let's look at basic types of onions. We're talking about full bulb onions like this, not the multipliers or bunching onions or the smaller onions. We're talking about full-size onions like this. And these are three representative that are very nice, okay? So these are sweet onions. Red onions have a lot of sugar content as a percentage compared to a white onion. This is a yellow onion. A lot of times you hear these as Utah Spanish or Spanish onions or just a yellow onion, and are used a lot in all sorts of culinary settings. Onions like this are a little bit sharper. They're also tighter, less water, and less sugar, so therefore this will store longer, and these two have pretty short storage potential at the end of the growing season, but they're great for all sorts of fresh eating, whether it's tacos or you're doing just onion rings or that sort of thing, or this is great for salad toppings and mixed into all sorts of other things for great color and taste. So let's begin to think like an onion. Well, the first thing you need to do to make sure that you are going to be successful is to get the right day length. Now, this happens to be a map of the United States, and for our friends across the pond or other parts of the world, you can look at different latitude lines and see the varieties that work in your area. You have to get the right day length to get it to grow correctly in there. Now, I'm not going to go into detail here, but we have a great resource. Check it out right up here in the link. Or you can look in the description below where we did another video that really covered the whole concept of day length. Take a look at that to understand that. So that's success tip number one. Success tip number two is bed preparation, where you're going to plant the onions. Now, we utilize onion starts and all the insights that Dixondale Farms provides us, and you can look at that website by following the link down in the description, dixondalefarms.com. Bruce and Jeannie Frazier and their whole crew down in Southwest Texas produce more onion starts than anybody else, and they really know their stuff. And they provide in every onion order that comes out this onion and leek planting guide, which includes planting area, also what the rows should look like, different ways you can plant them, fertilize them, and you can download this as a resource at dixondalefarms.com. By the way, no, this is not a paid advertisement from Dixondale. We just use them on an ongoing basis for many years and have had such a positive experience. We wanted to make sure we pass it on to you as well. But the bed needs to be prepared by tilling it lightly, breaking up all the soil so that it's open and makes it easy for the onion plant to grow. And then you need to put down some kind of pre-emergent, because notice on an onion, and you've seen this before, there's only a little patch of roots at the bottom of an onion. So it doesn't have a very large root network. Therefore, it's not going to compete well at all with weed pressure. So you got to keep weeds suppressed. The best way to do that initially at the beginning is to use something like Treflan or Preen, and you put these granules on that area, water in about a week to 2 weeks before you're going to plant. It's a pre-emergent, so it's not going to affect seed starts. So it's very important you get that, and of course later on fertilization and water. Now let's talk about the three different ways that you can plant onions. One, you can plant seeds. Number 2, you can plant sets, which are just miniature onions, and you've seen them at the home centers, even grocery stores or nurseries. These are the little baby onions that are inside mesh bags, and you plant those in your garden. And the third way is starts. In our experience, using starts is the very best way to go. Here's why. If you start seeds, you got to start them really early to get ahead of the season and get as many leaves as possible. If you start with the sets, you got to get that little onion going, and many times those are long day onions, which if you're in another part of the country can cause you problems. And you only have a limited amount of season before bulbing is triggered. And whatever amount of leaves or spikes you have above the soil line is the amount of rings you're going to get. So the game is to get as many as top leaves as you can get. The perfect onion is 13 leaves or 13 rings, and the closer you can get to that or hit it, the better off. And the greatest chance you're going to get of attaining that is using a start or a plant that's already started. That also allows you to put that weed suppressant we talked about, a Preemergent, because these are already emerged. So there's no issue, and you can get both things going at the same time, weed suppression and a fast start with these. Okay, let's go ahead and bring this discussion home. 2 more things that you need to know. One is fertilization, the other one is water. Now, water needs to be consistent, ongoing until it's almost time to harvest. Then you quit watering because you don't want too much moisture in the bulb. You want the bulbs to start to dry out so they'll store better. As far as fertilization, onions are extremely hungry for nitrogen in their leafing process. So you're literally going to side dress in stripes using lawn fertilizer. Use 21000. Ammonium sulfate is great. High nitrogen content, and the plants will love it. Don't put it directly on the plants. Put a stripe along each side. Water it in so you get it indirect and the roots sop it up, and the plants really will take it off and will get a lot of leaf spikes and bulk up the onion when the time comes to bulbing to start. So that fertilization is very important, but when the bulbing starts and it starts to bulk up, back off on the fertilization because you want the plant to convert everything to carbohydrates, not more leaf tops. So those are a couple important things. If you do these practices, and one last thing I forgot to mention, onions love sunshine. They need lots of heat, lots of sunshine, so make sure that the area you're in is not shaded, and with these different factors, you're going to end up with a great crop and become the envy of the neighborhood as an onion grower. If you need more information on day lengths or other particulars on onions, be sure to check out that video that we mentioned earlier. Here it is right there. You can just click on it and take a look at it. If you've got that covered, check out this other video on a DIY, low-tech, simple to construct irrigation system using commonly found materials at your home center. Check it out. We know you'll love it. Until the next time, this is Dirt Farmer Jay from dirtfarmerj.com.